Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER One News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER One News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER One News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER One News. I'm Alan Troop reporting news from around the Columbia Basin for Thursday, August 29th. Tonight, we report on Moses Lake changing the height requirement for some fences and find out more about what is happening at the former Kmart building in Moses Lake. In sports, we look at how the Ephrata Tigers football team is preparing for the season. Our spotlight story tonight is about a great place to learn about the history of Quincy. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER One Weather Center. Our top story tonight. People living on the corners of Moses Lake streets may get to build taller fences. The City Council approved moving to a second vote to change the city's rules on fences on corner lots. The change allows people to build a 6-foot tall fence from the backyard to the front of the house on both sides of the property. Current ordinance determines a side fence for a corner lot must meet requirements for fences built in front of the house. City rules prohibit people to build any fence taller than 5 feet for a chain link fence and 4 feet fence for any other material in the front yard. The ordinance requires a 5-foot irrigated lawn between the sidewalk and the fence. Columbia Drive resident Victoria Podolian proposed the change to the Planning Commission and the City Council, saying she wanted privacy in her backyard.
The 4-foot fence that is currently allowed, that we're allowed to have, doesn't really give us any privacy from people passing by. And I recently learned that there is also a new registered sex offender living in Moses Lake, and I have 3 little kids, and I'm concerned for their safety.
Community Development Director Gilbert Alvarado said the commission reviewed other properties in similar situations.
If you recall, you had somebody approach you earlier this year with the same situation. We know it exists. We know it's an issue. I think this was the Commission's attempt to try to address that issue.
The council members and city staff discussed the reasons for the fence changed and why the need for a 5-foot grass barrier. To read more about the discussion and the change, you can visit us online at ifiber.com/news. Driving by on SR 17, you can see work taking place at the former Kmart building in Moses Lake. Jeff Chu helps explain what is being built.
The piles of rubble and sounds of mallets hammering are good signs for the former Kmart building off Highway 17 at Stratford Road in Moses Lake. The 100,000 square foot structure has sat empty for much of the past 10 years since Kmart left the area following bankruptcy proceedings. ASPI Group, a Renton-based commercial, industrial, and residential developer and major landowner in Moses Lake and Grant County, is changing all that with Moses Lake Town Center. Kim Foster, ASPI Corporate Counsel in Renton, says the company is remodeling the building for 3 or 4 smaller retail tenants. Construction, which started this week, should be completed in late November or early December, he said. The building's exterior will feature towers of 35 to 40 feet on each end, and stonework is going to be used to give it a first-class design, according to Foster. The building's interior, which shows signs of the former Kmart, will be redone to accommodate separate retailers. Foster said the company chose to remodel the building because it is believed that Moses Lake's retail is now gravitating toward the Stratford Road area entrance, easily viewed from Highway 17. With Moses Lake's economy expanding since 2010 after BMW's SGL Automotive carbon fiber plant opened, Foster said the major national retailers are now putting the city up on their business radar screens. This is Jeff Chu reporting for iFIBER One News.
I look forward to seeing what the new stores will offer. Authorities are warning people to take precautions to avoid the West Nile virus in Grant County. It has been detected in the Yakima, Spokane, Benton, Franklin, and Grant counties this year. Liz Dykstra is a public health entomologist for the Department of Health, and she says the combination of warm weather and standing water created by irrigation, along with trees and other vegetation, provides ideal habitat for mosquitoes and birds that carry the virus. Most people bitten by an infected mosquito won't get sick. Some will develop mild headaches and fevers that can go untreated. But the West Nile virus can cause fatal meningitis or encephalitis, and some neurological effects of the disease may be permanent. The Department of Health suggests that the best strategy of protection is to wear pants and long-sleeve shirts, along with bug repellent when outdoors. Each of the people you see here has warrants for their arrest and is wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day, or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. And we will be back after these messages with our latest from the iFIBER One Weather Center, sports, and more news.